Hello and welcome to Footy Judge Mo. Thanks for everybody that left me a comment yesterday. Watch the video, the 10K celebration, because it's absolutely a phenomenal video chatting with you guys. Thank you for everybody that is stuck by us now on the way to 15K, hopefully soon. For the guys that always watch us here, for the guys that always support the channel with a like, with a share, with the super chat to get involved, of course. So we're here to talk, of course, about Spurs finishing fourth. Gary Neville said they can finish second above Liverpool. That's absolutely crazy to say that. But Liverpool also, now in the last 2-3 days, everyone talks about it's Man City's league and it's over and it's done. That's why Jerry's here with us to tell us what Liverpool should do to win the league. And if they have a chance, we'll look at the common fixtures for Liverpool. When they face Man City in 7 games, what should we expect? Big up everybody that is here. Big up everybody that joined from North Side. Of course, make sure to first like the video when you come in. Hit the like button for us, people. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Will Stewart is going to be joining us in a minute or two. He's just a little bit late. But Jerry, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you, buddy. How are you doing? First, let me thank you. You're a massive part of this 10K, contributing all the time. You're here every week, every Tuesday, and you're taking time from your busy schedule for us. I really appreciate you, Jerry. Thank you so much for being here, man. I really appreciate you as a friend, and thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, big up, man. First thing I want to say, I think everyone doesn't kind of understand the amount of effort you go and put into everything, and the money, the time, waking up. For us, for us, people in the UK, GMT, it's what, 2 o'clock, just gone 10 past. You're waking up at 6 a.m., 5 a.m. at times to go and prepare shows for everyone. And then you're up till 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning for you. For us, still streaming again. And I think, first of all you guys, everyone now in the chat, I don't know how many we've got, should like up the video. I think congratulations on the 10K. It's very, very well deserved. And yeah, man, like, look, you're in 11K already, man. So listen, I think that 15 target needs to change to about 30. If we're being honest, I think you got to aim a bit higher, Mo. But listen, well done, keep it up. And apart from that, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Busy as always, a lot of things to juggle, but yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to be on the show as always, and let's get cracking, man.
Yeah. So guys, I put a poll out there for Spurs, and but we'll start with Liverpool, though. I want to get your opinion about that talk that happened the last 2-3 days. Guys, we have over 100 people here, so hit that like button for us. The talk that guys after Kevin De Bruyne is back with a bang. The guy is a brilliant football player. And I'm not here to talk about Salah versus Kevin De Bruyne. I'm here to talk about Liverpool. I look at the Liverpool coming fixtures, and I'm looking at Liverpool facing Man City at home. Why is everybody not counting Liverpool in, like, saying, yeah, Liverpool will come second? Some people said Liverpool will come third. It's kind of strange, though. It's kind of strange, and I don't know why are people saying that. You have been very consistent this season. You have players that can score goals. Mohamed Salah is away, yes, but he's going to come back. Trent is going to come back in 2-3 weeks. Robertson is on the way back. So why is everybody saying that Liverpool won't win the league?
Probably for the same reasons people said that Arsenal wouldn't win the league if you weren't an Arsenal supporter. I think they apart from obviously City, Klopp is the only manager to go and win the league in recent years. Obviously, apart from Pep, there's no trust in Arteta. There's probably more trust in Liverpool than there is Arsenal. But you're looking at a Liverpool team that no one expected to be in this position. So when we're looking at, the league, looking at Liverpool's results, some results have been fantastic. Others have we've been able to grind out a result. Now, is that sustainable? That's obviously another discussion to go and look at, and you can kind of have a deeper look on how Liverpool are winning these games. Look, as long as Liverpool are winning them, I don't really care. And if I'm being honest, I don't really care about the discourse and the narrative that's being pushed about whether Liverpool are going to finish 5th or 4th, or whether someone thinks they're going to finish 2nd. That, for me, if you care about that, then you're more insecure in terms of Liverpool's positioning and where you think they're going to finish. It's like if people were saying, City are going to finish 3rd, I don't think City fans would even bat an eyelid. But because Liverpool are still new to this situation, we've got a new midfield. We weren't supposed to be in this situation. We're trying to look towards other fans and other people's opinions to go and kind of scream at the rooftops that Liverpool are back, because we're not confident that Liverpool are back ourselves as a general fan base. So no, as Alexander Delos just said, their haters are going to hate. The discussion obviously surrounding obviously Spurs and can Spurs finish ahead and all that type of thing, you can obviously get into more depth, and look, there may be some truth into it. We're halfway through the season. I can see some people's angles for it, but if I'm being honest, look, there's two teams currently. There's a team currently at the top of the table. That's Liverpool. City, of course, have done their business before, so I'd understand why people are saying Kevin De Bruyne comes and it changes the dynamic of a City team, which of course it does. But Liverpool still got some players to come back as well. And look, I don't mind being in the underdog. I'm pretty sure Klopp doesn't mind being the underdog. And hey, if everyone thinks City are going to win the league, if we end up winning the league, then do you know what I mean? Bob's your uncle. We're the ones that, do you know what I mean, are gonna kind of be able to enjoy it and reap the rewards a bit more. So it is what it is, in my opinion, man.
Like I'm looking at the likes, guys, over 100 people here. We have to hit that like button. Let's get us to 100 likes right away, right off the bat. Listen, I'm looking at this situation, and I look at Liverpool's coming fixtures, and I'm all I can see is you have very winnable fixtures until you face Man City at home. And will anyone sit here and tell me that Man City are gonna go to Anfield favorites? I don't think so. I actually don't. You have very winnable fixtures. You have the strongest defense in the league. You scored, you have the same goal differential as Manchester City. Well, you have better than Arsenal attack, better than Arsenal defense. So basically you are doing something that is unexpected, yes, but it's not like this word, is it sustainable? I'm seeing Liverpool actually win games even if they're behind. Is it successful? But some games you control the game, some games you are very good in terms of like playing from the sides, playing from the middle, and you haven't had a whole team for a bit now. Like McAllister got injured for like the last 3-4 games. And it's kind of strange to me that people just want to talk about Liverpool like that. But I think one of the things that I think when I'm looking at this Liverpool team, and I think this is one of the reasons I'm saying that you can win the league, City are favorites, is that you actually, Endo has been performing well. And that is the thing that I said that Liverpool need, a DM that will be able to stop transition and counter attack. So he has been doing this for the last 6 games. I'm not sure how far Japan will go. When will he come back for Liverpool? But you have winnable games until you face Arsenal, and you face Arsenal away in February 4th. He might be back, I'm not sure. But that was the only one missing from the starting lineup. And even McAllister is getting used to that DM rule, to that deep line midfielder rule, deep line playmaker one. Curtis Jones has been playing well lately, which is another one that can be added to the depth. Liverpool, you haven't had yet anyone in the window, but people forgot. And I told this to Hussam. I said this is about Liverpool. It's very simple. When you guys wanted a center back, and we spoke with Hussam, nobody knew that Kwanzaa can play in the Premier League. And I'm looking at Kwanzaa, and I'm like, this is someone as a new signing for Liverpool, as a summer signing for Liverpool, someone that is ready, which is the same as Rico Lewis for Man City last year. He played some games and he was ready. So I actually think that Liverpool have everything in their hand. Maybe they need a signing or two for depth, because you play Europa League, you play FA Cup, you're still in the Carabao Cup semi-final. And that's how I'm looking at Liverpool. It's because Endo has been playing well for 6 games or so. I actually think that you can actually challenge for the league until the last second. That's how I'm looking at it, in my opinion. It's that one guy and Kwanzaa from the summer, who nobody accounted for. Gomez as well coming back to the fold. But let me add Will, who is here. Will, thank you all for joining. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, school lines. They're long.
No problem. We're talking Liverpool. Can Liverpool win the league? And why is everybody saying Man City? And I'm talking about Endo. But you see my point here, Jerry, is like Endo, someone that nobody thought he would do like this. Kwanzaa, nobody was counting Kwanzaa in the I haven't never heard about Kwanzaa before. You know,
Exactly.
I'm not.
But I mean, look, Kwanzaa was in League One. Do you know what I mean, with Joey Barton as his manager last season. So again, an unknown entity. You're looking at Gomez obviously returning to form and being able to obviously play across the back line and perform to a high level. Endo's obviously the big one. The emergence of Curtis Jones and the fact that we've been able to go and create chances in the midfield have gelled quicker than I thought I personally thought they would. I think people just in general have reservations because, again, Endo's been 6 games. Now, if Endo comes back and has another poor 6 games, does the narrative straight away change in terms of what he can offer us? I wouldn't even be I wouldn't be upset if Endo came back and had a poor 6 games because, again, it's his first season. I expect him to have to acclimatize at one point. And then I look at him as a player and I still don't know. Do you know what I mean? Is he someone that's going to give you a 6, 7 out of 10 every single game for the rest of his Liverpool career? If he's going to be able to go and give us that, then perfect. We found the right man, and it seems so. When you go and look at what he's provided before he went to the Asian Cup, that's what he was doing. Again, I use the word sustainable because Liverpool are a team of the unknown right now. We don't know what the ceiling of Szoboszlai is. We don't know how well Endo can perform week in, week out. Heck, I don't even think Mikasa has been that good, and we don't know how he's performing right now and what level he can reach to. We've only seen Jones now start to pick it up in the last, 18 months now, back end of the season, do you know what I mean? Well, not in 18 months, maybe 9, 10 months of actual football where he's back end of last season performing really well, had a couple of injuries, and he's coming into his own now. I'd understand if a Liverpool fan had some reservations about, do I really trust this team yet? Because unlike a City, the City fans know what the manager is going to provide for them. They've still got they've got the core that's still the same. They know what De Bruyne is going to bring us. Like, no Liverpool fan has any reservations about Salah or the importance of Trent or Virgil van Dijk. But of course, we look at Joe Gomez and we're like, hey, he's performing really well. But when's the bubble going to burst? When's Endo going to go revert back to type, or is he not going to revert back to type? And this is his level. It's just about understanding where Liverpool are, because we didn't expect Liverpool to be in this position. Now they're in it. It's about, just take it easy. It is what it is. Like, if Liverpool end up finishing 3rd and going on large cup runs, I doubt a lot of Liverpool fans will be aggrieved as to this was a horrible season for Liverpool. It's like, no, they lost a big chunk of their team last year, had to rebuild, and this is part of their rebuilding process. So, look, for right now, I'm going to enjoy it. And hey, like you said, if Endo can perform at the level he is, if everyone can just sustain their levels, then 100% we're going to be in and amongst it, no doubt. I think that's inevitable. We're going to be there. So,
guys, 200 people here almost. So hit that like button. Get us to 150 likes. Will, I'm going to ask you something. The next games for Manchester City and Liverpool are kind of similar, apart from the Arsenal game away for Liverpool, who I think Liverpool can get a result, right, from that game. If Liverpool and Man City go to that game with Liverpool 2 points ahead of Man City, and Liverpool, they play at home, and Liverpool win 5 points ahead, there will be about 11 games left, if I'm not mistaken, after this. Do you think Liverpool should be favorites from that point on? 11 games left, 5 points ahead of City, already played Arsenal away, already played Man City, already played Chelsea. Do you think they are favorites at that time?
No, I don't think they're favorites.
But they would have played everybody else.
I think that they're the only challenger, and I've been telling you that since the first week of the season. But I don't necessarily think that they're favorites, right?
Even if they go with 5 points ahead of Manchester City?
Yeah, I mean, 5 points.
With 11 games? That's 2 games they have to
How
drop.
would they get 5 points? They're on the same number of games played.
Yeah, so they are 2 points ahead of Manchester City, and they face each other in 7 weeks. And all the games for both of them.
City.
Yes, of course. If they beat Manchester, that's because they play at Anfield. Normally, Liverpool win against Manchester City at Anfield, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think if they beat them, that they would have a good chance. I would say if they're favorites, it would just be slight, right? 51%
even with 5
to 49%.
points?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think so.
This is kind of like,
I mean,
Liverpool,
it's Manchester City. I mean, we've seen
but
it.
Liverpool they lost once against Manchester City in 2021. That's that's not in the COVID season. That's once, I think, against Manchester City at home. That doesn't happen at all. But because this is a plausible situation, Liverpool can be 5 points.
Put it this way, I'll put it up there as a Liverpool fan. If Liverpool beat City in about 7 games' time, there's no doubt that Liverpool are favourites, because if you even to base on averages and the amount of games Liverpool have lost and drawn, Liverpool would have to have a monumental collapse to go and allow City to come back into it, purely because of the fact that they've beaten City. They've got, what, 11 games to go? Was that 11 or 10, would it be? Can you just double check?
It will be 11 if I'm not mistaken.
11 games. So it's 11 games to go. And Liverpool don't lose. As in, this, if you were to base it on what the first part of the season, Liverpool don't lose. And Liverpool usually finish off the season strongly. Even if you look at the back end of last season. Last year we were terrible, but still were able to go and finish really, really strongly. Now, albeit we weren't fighting for anything, so there's a different dynamic. But if Liverpool can just maintain what they've done this season, then we have to be favourites. I mean, I would push that same narrative onto Arsenal if Arsenal were in that position. So I can't be disingenuous by saying Liverpool aren't favourites.
No,
Arsenal can't be in that position, actually, because they're 5 points behind. I don't think
I'm saying if they were in a hypothetical.
No, but even if they were 8 points clear last season and they bottled it, right? So we can't put Arsenal in that same boat, right? Like, you guys aren't. Don't insult yourself by comparing yourself to ours. But no, it's 3 draws, right?
Yeah, but Liverpool...
you don't have to lose. It's 3 draws.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather you'd be better off drawing one and winning the others. I just think Liverpool.
No. I mean, like, the 5-point gap can be overcome if you guys draw 3 times, right? You don't even have to lose, right? It's just a matter of dropping points and draws, which you guys have been, have done a couple times this season, right? Luton Town or
6 times.
Yeah. Like I said, we've had 6 draws. What you're banking on is for, again, the first part of the season to replicate itself with City as well. Because if based on that, then City lose.
But I don't think Cities will replicate. I think they'll go on a run, right? That's my point. Is I think they'll get win after win after win after win. You guys just need to get half the draws in the second half.
You don't think Liverpool can get better than this?
No, I think you will. Like, so you had 6 draws in the first half of the season. If you just do 3 in the second half, that's an improvement by 100%, right?
Yeah.
They could still make up that 6-point gap if they went on a 10-12 game run, right? Which they can do. That's my point, right? So you would be favorites, but you would just be maybe slight. If you're favorites, it's like 1% favorites.
You think City, just as the rival, do you think City drop points in the second half of the season or not?
They can, and then they can't as well, right? Like, it just depends on what Manchester City team decides to show up.
So why are you saying that? Why not Liverpool though? But Liverpool apart from last season,
mm-hmm.
I actually Liverpool and the season I think that Van Dijk got injured and they had Ozan Kabak.
Yeah.
I actually think Liverpool normally go on a run as well.
Liverpool,
you're right. But what I'm saying is they can go on a run, but like I said, 3 draws and the point gap is made up. What I'm saying is like, I think it'll be, if you guys beat Manchester City at your ground, I think it'll end up being the season like you guys when you lost it by 1 point on the last day, right? Like, it'll be that type of a challenge is what I'm saying. It's going to be neck and neck to the end. It's not going to be a 5-point gap. You guys aren't going to cruise to the victory, right? It's going to be, like, even when you won the league, you won it by like 2 points, right? Like, it wasn't.
No, when you won the league.
Yeah, when Liverpool won the league, you guys won like by 2 points, right?
No, it was more.
Was it? I don't remember.
It was more. It was that because we had about 20-point gap by the time we hit January, I think it was. So it was a massive gap because they had injury with Fernandinho, so it was way.
I don't remember.
No. They actually Liverpool won it like by a big margin. They won it in February or March.
Yeah.
Before COVID hit in 2020 March, Liverpool already, everybody knew that Liverpool won the league. It was done already at that time.
Yeah,
so that's what I mean. And people say that Liverpool when they lost. I always say if a team lose it in the last day, there is a difference when a team win it 2 games before the season. And then the team that wins it, like, lose the last 2 games, and the difference is 1 point. There's a difference between losing it in the last game of the season by 1 point. That means you're toe-to-toe. Liverpool were equal. Yes, Manchester
City
were better because at that one point, Will, might be a referee decision or something like that. You know what I mean? I say last game of the season, I would say both teams probably are equal at that time in terms of runs and stuff like that.
Well, I just don't think this one fixture is going to turn the balance for me to say, all right, Liverpool's got the lead. You see what I'm saying? This one fixture, because like you said, they normally lose at Anfield and City still win the league, right? Like, so this one fixture for me isn't going to be the one that flips the scales, right? I would have to see the rest of the season. Yeah. But I definitely think Liverpool are the only title challenger this season, 100%.
Yeah. It was 18 points as well.
Yeah, so I saw the chat.
So why what can Liverpool do? What can Liverpool do to actually be like
win as many games?
You are ahead. No, hold on. You are ahead now of Manchester City. So what can Liverpool do for you as a fan from outside, right? You aren't a Liverpool, you aren't a City game, you aren't a City fan. From this point on, Liverpool are 2 points ahead. What can Liverpool do for you to convince that they have an equal chance with City? Is it signings? Now, forget winning games. Winning games will win you the league. If they win the games, they win the league. This is this is nothing. But what can they do for you to consider them as a 50-50 title contenders with Man City?
I mean, like I said, 50-50. So, like I said, if they beat Manchester City at their ground, then that would, if it puts them ahead, it's almost 50-50, right? That's what I'm saying, right? And this is what's problem with people that don't listen to what I'm saying, right? So if they lose, if Manchester City lost to Liverpool at their ground in how many games time? 5-6 games from now?
7 games from now.
7 games from now. Then they wouldn't have won 18 in a row. They would have dropped points to Liverpool, right? So people need to listen to what I'm saying before they comment in the comments. My logic isn't that they're going to go on an 18-game run. My point is that Manchester City, we all know, can go on a 12, 15-game run. They've done it multiple times, right? So they still do have, they still have to come to our ground. So that's probably another 3 points drop for Manchester City. So they haven't even scored a goal there. So that's not a hot take, right? But for me, it's simply just you'd have to see the rest of the season. I think Liverpool I've said, when everybody was saying Arsenal were the title contenders at the beginning of the season, I said, no, it's Liverpool, right? A lot of people laughed at me at that point in time, and now it's clear who the actual challengers are.
We aren't talking about Arsenal today, because we'll come to Arsenal in a bit, because we've got Neville comments.
It's relevant to the Liverpool point is my point. Right?
So my point, okay, so let me ask you something then. And I'm going to ask everybody in the chat. There's almost 300 people here, guys. So like the video, and I'm going to ask you something, guys, in the chat. And I want people to comment if you want to support the channel and get something going, get a question or something. But I'm going to ask you two something, right? Manchester City, and I looked at the results. Manchester City lost to Aston Villa, won against Luton, away 2-1, all right? And then drew to Crystal Palace at home. Won against Everton away, which is Man United, won against Everton. Won against Sheffield at home. And won against Newcastle when they were 2-1 behind until Kevin De Bruyne came on. So do you guys think that, logically speaking, this can be all Kevin De Bruyne is back, the league is shaking, as Pep Guardiola, as Klopp said, and it's not actually looking objectively at the results and what is happening and how the defense is performing? It's just the fear of Man City and Kevin De Bruyne is back and all this talk. But looking at the results, they literally just won 3 games. Everton, Sheffield, if I'm not mistaken, and Newcastle, while being 2-1 behind Newcastle. Liverpool won with 9 men against Newcastle. So objectively speaking, all this talk is all about Kevin De Bruyne being back. Otherwise, why are we saying that Man City are better than Liverpool? And I'm playing devil's advocate here, very obviously, right? Can someone answer this? I don't get it.
I don't necessarily think that there's a large gap in between the quality of Liverpool and Manchester City. I think it's just that because both managers are world-class managers and both squads have a significant amount of world-class players, that it's just a boxing match, right? Like they're just gonna go, toe for toe, point for point, and it's just whoever drops the least amount of points, wins the league. But it's a fairly even match for me, right? And for me, Liverpool, this is their on season, right? Liverpool over the last 6 years will have great season, and then they'll drop off a little bit. And then great season, then drop off a little bit. And great season, and drop off a little bit. Last year it was their drop off, so this is their great season, right? If that trend continues, so it's going to be close. It's going to go down to the wire. I don't think there's a huge difference in the squad, but Kevin De Bruyne being back makes a huge difference. We saw that last week, right? Or this past week.
Yes.
I think it's not only that; it's the returning Haaland as well. I think when you go and add the goal, the creativity, then that's where it makes it more difficult for Liverpool, because I see the argument between like Salah and De Bruyne, and obviously they're different players, so the impact they have on their team is different. If Liverpool had a De Bruyne in the midfield alongside what they have already, then you're separating yourself from the pack, because you've got someone that can now feed a player that can score 30 goals. City now have that now. It was Oscar Bob that scored the goal, but can you imagine if that was Haaland in the box, and how many times they're going to be able to go and feed him? It's their ability to now go direct and change up what they're doing. It gives them a different dynamic now, because they don't have to go and play through the lines. They can just go very, very direct and score. And that's what De Bruyne gives them that the other midfielders don't. Before he came on again in that Newcastle game, it was them passing around, and it looked like Newcastle might be able to hang on. As soon as De Bruyne in, the game, it stretched, because now you've got a player that can go and find, someone on a sixpence from any position, and now you have to press out to, which means there's space in behind. So it's like trying to speak as objectively as possible from a Liverpool perspective. I think De Bruyne coming back, not only is it the ability he's got and the position he's playing in, it's just the boost it will give the fans and the boost it will give the team. The team now know, okay, we've got De Bruyne back. Because they know how good De Bruyne is. It's the same way Liverpool are going to feel when Trent's back in the team. When Trent's back in the team, the players are going to be licking their lips thinking, okay, now we've got a player that changes the dynamic of the game. When he comes into midfield, he's going to be able to go and find the Nunes direct, or find the Jota direct, and we're going to be able to go and create chances that way. So, look, City have done it before, and I've said it because City have done it, and they've done it last season, and they've done the treble. If you were a betting man, you'd be silly to go and, well, not silly, you'd be very, very kind of adventurous and to go and kind of bet against them. But Liverpool are in a very, very good place. And I think, look, no one expected us to be here. We just got to accept it and write it out.
I expected you to be here. Look, and I'm not saying that just to take a dig at Arsenal. Like I honestly and genuinely believed that you guys would be here. For me, the City thing is, and he's right, and I'd be willing to bet, basically because I know the numbers of some of the games, but I'd be willing to bet, and if you looked at the games that City lost in which Haaland played, the number of touches that he had in the opposition's box is probably close to 0. And Kevin De Bruyne fixes that problem for them. And that's going to be the difference for me, I think, with Kevin De Bruyne being back. It frees up a lot of people in that team to be more creative, more courageous, right? More aggressive in attacking balls, because we know the kind of player that he is, right? So,
yeah. For me, just moving on to your point as well, Mo, you asked, what can Liverpool do? What can Liverpool do? Therefore, we're 5 points ahead. What can we do to make ourselves, I don't know, bigger favourites?
You're 2 points ahead only.
Huh?
You're 2 points.
We're 2 points now, but I'm saying in the hypothetical clause.
But you have a game at home against City. So, yes, you can be 5 points on paper.
We can be if we were to beat them. That I'm talking hypothetically. Then, for me, it's very, very simple. But I go back to our quad season and look at the impact that Diaz had on our season, the impact that Cody Gakpo had when we made the signing. Now, they weren't signings that we necessarily needed. When you looked at our team, it wasn't like we need to get a forward in right now, because if we don't, we're finished. It was Liverpool had an opportunity to sign a forward that they wanted and had to move it forward. If Liverpool can go and do that this season even, and it doesn't matter necessarily what position that's in, but you have someone that can bring an impact to the team, it boosts the players up to go, okay, we've got to now go and perform. in the hypothetical situation, go and sign a forward that has now got more competition for Nunes, even though you don't need a forward now, it's like you better score or you've got a problem now. And you're joining a team that's already on a mission to go and, do you know what I mean, fighting on all fronts. It adds a different dynamic in the dressing room, in the change room. When you go and look at kind of the intangibles of football, that's something I'd go and look at. If I was in the Liverpool team, I'd look at somewhere in the team where you could be like, you know what, where could we sign a player in, or where is there an opportunity in the market where we can sign a player in now that's going to help us in the future, but it's going to give us a massive boost right now where, you know, the team just starts to click into game perform. If you go and look at our quad attempt season when we were fighting on all fronts and, I mean, lost the league by a point and got to the Champions League, Diaz was a massive part of that. It meant that Mane revitalized himself by coming into the middle. It meant that his poor, do you know I mean, 18 months ended on a high for Liverpool. You had Diaz coming. That was a nice breath of fresh air, obviously, in the team. If Liverpool can do something like that, whether that's in midfield, whether that's a forward, I think that's something that can give Liverpool a different dynamic. Because apart from that, I don't see how fans or other people are gonna change their perspective on City being favourites until it's mathematically possible. Because I think people just look at City as this entity that can do no wrong.
I'd like to ask our friends here, do you guys as Liverpool fans, have you seen that trend? Have you recognized that like over the last 5 years, you guys are kind of woo, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down. What do you think that falls down to?
I think if you look at it on paper, yeah, there is an up and down trend. But when you delve a bit deeper, you start to scratch the surface. You know, okay, there's nuances to every situation. So yes, there is a trend, but you go and look at the season we won the league, or the season we were, do you know what I mean? But before we won the league, we're challenging for the league, lost it, but won the Champions League, right? So that's still a very, very successful season. So there wasn't a drop off there.
So there was no drop there. So like from the time you started getting into that, right? So when you finished 6th, 8th, 4th, that was pretty consistent.
So we won the league.
But so the points totals were consistent, right? So what I'm saying is like, so you and then you won the league, but since you guys won the league, you guys dropped down to 69 points. Then you went up to 92 points. Then you dropped down to 67 points, and now you're up at 45, which is basically a 90 point, plus season, right? So
I think that's due to a combination of things. I think you could look at investment in terms of Liverpool not investing at certain times. The COVID season, or if you want to go and call it that, the season where we played behind closed doors and Liverpool scraped through with an Alisson header to get into the top 4. We had a ridiculous amount of injuries that Liverpool just gambled on. They gambled on Van Dijk being fit for the whole season as he was. We didn't sign any centre-backs. We then ended up with Ben Davies and Ozan Kabak, as Mo alluded to. Ended up having to play Reece Williams and Nat Phillips, who can't get a game at Aberdeen and Celtic, respectively. And we managed to go and scrape through. So that, for me, was an anomaly. We then go for the quad. And again, we're in a similar situation where we ought to strengthen that midfield. I said after that quad season, Liverpool are going to struggle to go and challenge for any major honours for a long time now. I may be wrong this season, but I did say about 3-4 years. I said it's going to take a long while for Liverpool to get there. What did Liverpool do? They gambled on everyone being fit again. They gambled on Henderson being able to provide the same numbers of output, which he wasn't able to go and do, and it was a massive, massive decline. So Liverpool have rectified that. The performances come straight back up now. I think there needs to be a proactive approach from Liverpool, whether it's on the pitch and in terms of investment, to go and protect the team from suffering that again. So the way Liverpool have done their business since then, how they address the midfield, looking at the signing of Gakpo in the January, even Diaz in the January before. I know that was obviously pushed in by Mane. I think Mane leaving. I think there's a Liverpool identifying that there was a trend there, and I think on paper again you can see it, but I don't think that's something that's necessarily down to Liverpool mentally kind of losing themselves and having to up themselves up again. I think that's
enough. It was like, if you guys as Liverpool fans thought that maybe Klopp, he's tweaking his system like every other year to kind of freshen things up, and it takes maybe a season for the guys to get adjusted to it. Like I didn't say it was necessarily there was a mentality thing, because I mean you guys have been consistently up in the top 4 around it.
I think tactically, I don't think it's tactically that. I think Klopp always makes decisions when he's forced to make decisions, and then he reaps the rewards from them. So if something's working for Klopp, Klopp's not going to change from it at all. This is the first season I've seen of Klopp where Klopp has gone and in-game changed formations. We've gone 4-2-4. We've gone and played Szoboszlai as a 6, and he seems to be a bit more adventurous in what he's doing tactically. Before then, you could ask any Liverpool fan, they'll tell you who the starting lineup is, how we're going to go and play, and what our tactics are. It got to the point where I think any Liverpool fan could have been Pep Lijnders as his assistant and tell Klopp what to do, because it was that predictable. When you're very, very predictable and you're relying on the same key players to go and pull you through, if any of those cogs go missing, you then end up in a situation like we were in the quad season, where you're missing Van Dijk and you can't play the same way anymore because you can't play that high line. Or then your centre-backs are gone and you're playing Fabinho and Henderson at centre-back because you've got no one else and you don't trust the other centre-backs. Right now, we're in a situation where Klopp's rotating more than ever, and we're seeing the fact that Gomez can perform to a high level. He comes out, Konda comes and performs to a high level. Matip was performing to a high level before he got injured. Van Dijk, and you have Konate that, yes, he's an injury concern, but he's been performing fantastically. The same way for the left-backs. Robertson was performing okay before he got injured. Simigas came in, we had doubts, he performed really well. Joe Gomez has come in, he's performed really well. As Mo just alluded to earlier, Endo came in and question marks about him, he's performing really well. And we're able to rotate, but still keep a high level. And it's more reminiscent of what City have done in the past, where they drop players in all the time, and De Bruyne sometimes might be out, or they'll swap Mahrez out for Bernardo Silva on the whack, but the performance still stays at a 7, 8, 9 out of 10. I think it's the first season that Liverpool are able to go and do that, where every match from match day to match day, we don't know what team Klopp's going to go and put out. Years gone by, we knew the starting 11 every single game.
Yeah.
Listen, let me do these couple of super chats. Danny saying, very hard this month without Mo and Trent. I think majority of the game, apart from Arsenal, are winnable games. I think you have Bournemouth away. That's a little bit tough, but I think it can be done, right? The way you play. Fulham away, yeah. Chelsea and Arsenal, I think that's tough. But I'm expecting Mohamed Salah to come back ASAP. You guys, I'm Egyptian, and I'm telling you, he's back ASAP. We might not even make it.
You're not happy with Egypt's performance.
I really don't care. Like, listen, this generation for me in Egypt is not the greatest. So I kind of checked out of the Egyptian national team a couple of years ago, or 3-4 years ago, to be honest with you. So I checked out of the national team at all. So, but yeah, without Trent, but you have players as well. Like, you still have players to perform. Like McAllister is back. That's a big deal. Robertson almost back. So that's a big deal. Guys, over 320 of you here. The like button is underneath your live chat. It looks like this. It's very important to get the likes up to 200 likes, because this is the only way this channel is going to grow. We're going to get more subscribers, and we're going to get this video seen by other people. Listen, pure entertainment, me waking up at 7 in the morning to do a show. So guys, at least like the video. At least. I'm not asking for anything else, but like the video. Danny here said that. But yeah, it will be tough, to be honest. Ryan is saying, Jeremy, we're winning the league. Jerry, he means Jerry. We're winning the league. Also, if we keep Thiago fit, who's Thiago? I forgot that you have a player called Thiago Alcantara, and he is similar impact to win, almost won the quad. Then we will finish with 4 trophies. Are you serious, Ryan? No, I love the support. Thiago Alcantara, bro, who we forgot that he plays for Liverpool Football Club. Are you serious? How are we talking about Thiago Alcantara now? At least Kevin De Bruyne played until the Champions League final. The last time I saw Thiago Alcantara was probably like a year ago. Am I mistaken? A year ago? Are we kidding here, Ryan? Like,
I think Jose Mourinho was still a manager when last time I saw Thiago.
Like, yeah, come on, just what is this? But Ryan, I got you saying you'll win a quad. By the way, it's not the quad; it's an A quad. Let's just put it that way. You're in Europa League, my friend. You aren't in the Champions League, Ryan. So, but thank you so much for the super chat. But if Thiago, I'm gonna say this. So, with all honesty, if Thiago's fit, I think he provides something else for Liverpool Football Club. He provides way more control, which is Liverpool lack at the moment. You lack control. Gravenberch, Curtis Jones, Szoboszlai aren't a control-based midfielders. They are more running, energy. Thiago Alcantara provides control, in my opinion.
Well, Thiago Alcantara does it. But right now in our team, Curtis Jones is the one that offers us the most control out of any midfielder, and that includes McAllister, Endo, and whoever. You go and look at the stats, look at the games, he goes and does it. So we have a Thiago in there, I think, great. I just think, what does that do for McAllister, and where there's an Endo playing, where does Szoboszlai play? That's how I look at it. So it's an interesting dynamic to have. I just don't think Thiago's. He might come off the bench and be able to offer us something different. I don't think he starts for Liverpool anymore.
Yeah. AK is saying Liverpool can also go on a 10+ game unbeaten. Yeah, but that's what Will's saying. You guys are not listening. He said it's not about defeats. It's about Liverpool drawing. They drew 6 games already this season. They should not probably have lost the Spurs game, right? But they still drew 6 games, which is a lot of games. Second half of the season,
several of them at home.
Yeah. But so Man City, to be honest with you, Man City, Crystal Palace, they left points, Man City, that you will never think that Man City will drop points against Crystal Palace, being 2-0 up. That doesn't happen often. But second half of the season under Jurgen Klopp, currently 16 games unbeaten, a team in transition, but already hard to beat. Yes, I agree with you, AK. And that's a big deal about that. That's a big deal. We'll see. I think Jurgen Klopp can create a system that actually can get beaten. And it's all going to be down to Darwin Núñez, Mohamed Salah, Cody Gakpo to put the ball in the back. Liverpool create chances, right?
Yeah,
and Van Dijk, and Van Dijk now is playing to a high level. And Alisson is over there, is up there, right? So it's all, I think this whole season against Man City will rely on one thing. Can the forward line put the chances in the net? That's it.
Well, I don't even think that. I think they'll do that. I think the forward line will put chances in the net more times than not. My concern is like if you guys don't go in and strengthen in the January window, what happens if Van Dijk gets a muscle strain or something like that this season? What happens if Alisson gets injured? Because he's been injured several seasons, right?
No, he's been injured once this season, muscle injury, right, Jerry? Yeah, he was out for a muscle. But we can say the same about Man City. What if Rodri gets injured? Oh, it's done. It's over, right?
Yeah,
what if Ederson? What I'm saying is, did you see Ortega last game against Newcastle? I'm sorry, with all due respect. Did you see the massive difference between Ortega and Ederson? We can say the same though. And Ederson is already injured.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I don't disagree with that. But what I'm saying is, I think in their front line they have a lot of depth, right? In their front line, maybe even in the midfield. But I think from the center defensive midfielder back, it gets a bit thin there, and that's really what's keeping you in a lot of these games where your front line can't or doesn't put away the chances that they get.
See, that's where I disagree. Obviously, we can't. If you go and look at the amount of centre backs we've got Konate, Matip's the one that's out, but Kwanzaa's come in. Van Dijk, Konate, Matip, Kwanzaa, Gomez. Then we've got obviously Trent. You've got Bradley, and that's performed really well.
You seem to rate Gomez, but I know other Liverpool fans. Like I've heard Hassam say multiple times that he doesn't rate the way that Gomez has performed sometimes this season. So.
No, they don't trust him well. Okay, so here's the problem with Gomez. After the injury, he has not put a run of 4 or 5 games together in a good performance. He would have one game, and then boom, is done. It's like mistakes all over the pitch. If I'm not mistaken, this is what it is, Jerry. Nobody trusts Gomez to be like before the injury, like the guy that was in the England national team. You remember?
Exactly, and that's what it is. It goes back to my point: is that when I don't blame, or when I look at Liverpool fans, I understand why you'd be a bit reserved as to can Liverpool go and do it the whole way, because you don't trust Endo, because you don't know who he is yet as a player. You don't know how consistent he can be. Gomez is one that is performing really well, but you don't know if he's going to revert back to quote unquote type, or is he going to go back to his level? And is this his level now? Is this the level that he's going to be able to sustain and maintain, barring another injury? So, look, I think defensively, as Mo said, Kwanzaa coming in, he is essentially the new signing. Do you know what I mean? Before the start of the season, no one knew who he was. He was playing in League One for Joey Barton. Do you know what I mean? So him coming in is essentially that Colwill signing that Liverpool wanted to go and get. And had we signed someone like that, I think fans would look at it and be like, oh, okay, look, they've strengthened at the back. Liverpool really, really rate Kwanzaa. They really rate him. So the fact that he's in the team now, for me, suggests that, okay, look, an injury to Van Dijk would be massive, because Van Dijk is Van Dijk. You can't get better than Van Dijk for me. But we've got Joe Gomez has been really good, and you've got Konate that's been fantastic this season. I mean, look at his performances against Arsenal.
Konate's a good player.
Yeah. So,
I don't disagree.
And again, it's just the injury concerns that we'd have to have multiple injuries that I don't think one signing would solve, because you'd have to expect them to come in and hit the ground running. And if they don't, can you blame them? And can you blame them to not perform to Van Dijk's level?
Let's do the super chats. Danny with a super chat. I don't know what do you mean by the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. But it's a very strange super chat, Danny. Thank you for the support. I'm not reading the super chat.
Whoa! If we're on Staffy channel.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's kind of a wild super chat. Out of respect, you spent your hard-earned money.
You didn't answer it.
Just say no, Mo.
No, I'm not answering this. Winter Surfer is saying, Mo, Ryan believes Arsenal are winning the EPL. I don't think anybody believes that Arsenal are winning the EPL anymore. So thank you, Andrew, for the super chat. He's referring to Arteta. Oh yeah, come on. Anyway, Winter Surfer, thank you so much. What do Liverpool have to do to win the league? We have been talking about this motion for the last about like 40 minutes, literally. What Liverpool
I just think if they strengthen more in the winter, they would have a lot better chance. Like if I saw 1 or 2 signings come in January, that was like, okay, here's some upgrades, here's some depth.
What signings would you, from as a rival? What signing would it be?
I would. Striker would be the best case scenario, but I don't think you guys are going to do that. I don't think that's reasonable. But I think a midfielder, another like
a DM,
like a 6'8" type of player.
But Endo has been performing.
But closer to he's been performing. But I think that something adding a little bit more of a deep lying playmaker-esque type of a role, but also sound defensively. But more sound defensively. I don't think McAllister's that creative.
Yeah. But that's Endo. So that's the thing. You can't. There is not
Thiago,
a lot of
Thiago in his prime was not only a really good defensive midfielder, but he was also a bit of a regista, right? Like he would play balls.
I never rated Thiago's defensive abilities, but fine.
Yeah.
I never rated Thiago's defensive abilities. Never.
I didn't think he was bad defensively.
But he never had to defend.
In the 8, he could go and get back from the tackle as a 6 by himself.
There is one thing, Thiago never needed to defend. The guy is a Barcelona through and through, where you don't need to defend in a midfield. And he's a Bayern Munich, where you don't need to defend. So it's a simple. When he came to Liverpool, he improved defensively, right? Because of the work ethics of Jurgen Klopp and how they play. But I don't think he's that. I don't think Thiago at the current moment is better than McAllister as a deep line playmaker. McAllister, to be honest with you, he is struggling defensively a lot because he's slow and in transition. But I don't think Thiago's the answer. I think
no, that's where I disagree with you. And I'm not like Thiago's biggest fan in terms of his availability. I think he offers you 10 times more on the ball.
I get what you're saying. No. On the ball, I'm saying
defensively, I think he understands. The positioning a bit more with Thiago.
I think McAllister's overrated. I think he had a good World Cup, but he never even plays in that World Cup if Lo Celso doesn't get injured.
But I get what actually Jerry's saying, which is yes. To be honest with you, at the current, when I'm watching Thiago, he's 5 times the player McAllister is at the moment. Like Thiago has way more talent, right?
Yeah.
But I think McAllister is improving to the point that he's good enough to play in a team that will win the Premier League at the moment. In the beginning of the season, I was a little bit skeptical, but he has been one of your best midfielders every time he played because he isn't asked to defend a lot, right? Because the defense and Alisson has been doing their job. He isn't a defensive player. He is basically a Pirlo, a deep line playmaker. You just get the ball and pass it around. He isn't creating a lot, but when he goes forward, he creates. But to be honest, if you tell me that Thiago's your answer and you're going to bench McAllister, I would say, no, that's laughable.
I'm not saying Thiago. I'm saying I want to see somebody younger and more fresh in that role. Like they're going to need to replace Thiago at some point because there
is not a lot in the market, and they're too expensive, and Liverpool won't spend that much money. If Caicedo is 150,
I think they made a mistake in not picking up Kone in the summer from Mönchengladbach.
No, maybe I'm not sure.
I love that guy. I want him at Tottenham. I call him Baby Basuma. I mean, that guy he's press resistant. He's got a good ball, pass on him. That's what I want us to buy. And I was a little disappointed when Liverpool was linked with him this summer because I thought they'd get him. And I don't know how it didn't happen, but I guess they had different plans in mind because they were trying to go after Caicedo and all those guys. But
I think Thiago's gonna leave. Yeah, Andrew's saying he's leaving the summer. So Christopher here is saying I want to move to the Spurs section, people, because that's the exciting one. That Gary Neville said Arsenal are so bad that it pushed Liverpool to a tighter racing season. When most Liverpool fans were okay with top 4 this year, a lot of new faces equal a draw. That's a very good, actually, super chat. But I actually think that Liverpool are in the title race because I think the league is very tight. It's not, and Liverpool have been consistent, and Arsenal and Man City weren't consistent. They had dips. Liverpool haven't had a dip. When you call Liverpool a dip, they draw 2 games at home against Arsenal and Man United. That's the dip, the only dip this season. Otherwise, they have been very consistent. Liverpool have not been the best team in the league, even though they are first, but they've been the most consistent team in the league. That's why they're first.
And consistency wins leagues for me.
Yeah, they are very good. Like every time I'm watching Liverpool, like they aren't like Man City. Man City would win a game 5-0, and then the next game they would lose 2-1 or draw. Liverpool have been very consistent. Steady Eddie. You know what I mean? Just steady Eddie. You haven't been blowing teams away every game, and you haven't been losing games. You shouldn't have lost.
Performances have been kind of right? But they're still getting results.
Yeah, 100%. I think Liverpool are in a good position, but again, Man City have deeper squad, and you would bank on the last thing about Liverpool before I do the rest of Super Chat is that you would bank. The reason why Man City for me are favorites is that you would bank on the Man City players to still keep good form, but you wouldn't bank on Gomez to be in top form. You wouldn't bank on Endo being in top form the whole time. Konate is a mistake. You wouldn't bank on Nunes, who hasn't scored in like 11 games to bang goals. There are no signs that Nunes will turn it around and give you 20 goals in the second half of the season or 10. That if it happens, I'll be like, yeah, you can win the league there. Diaz, for example, hasn't turned the corner yet. So that's why you would bank on Man City. You'd bet on Man City players to be better the second half of the season more than Liverpool players. Andrew Wright is saying, is Thiago playing number 6 like Bayern? Well, no, because he played next to Fabinho, if you guys remember. So Fabinho was always the one tasked to do defensive work. It wasn't Thiago.
He was in Curtis Jones's role. That's what he was playing.
Yeah,
he was a 6'8", but he never got as far up as Curtis Jones. Like I didn't see him in the box as often.
Yeah,
no. He obviously changed because when Trent comes inside, he's obviously got license to get forward. But in terms of what you saw even last year, when Curtis Jones played, it was them rotating in that position a lot of the time. So he was on the left-hand side.
Yeah. There is a super chat here. Can you discuss Mourinho's sacking, please? Khalid, stay with us. I'm going to discuss. We're going to touch on it, to be honest. I don't think it's relevant. I think the guy was just a ticking bomb as well. Just to give you a quick thing. Roma have been playing atrocious brand of football for the last 2 years under Mourinho. We watched them against Sevilla in that final, and they play like this in the league. He is not playing a good brand of football and not getting results in the league. He's sitting 9th in Serie A. Every time you watch Roma, the guy, I love Jose. Listen, Jose Mourinho won my club a treble. So I hold a big place in my heart for Jose Mourinho. But the guy is done. It's over at the top level. He's not adapting. He doesn't want to change. And he is throwing a tantrum against everybody in the league. Already got 3 red cards in the first half of the season, if I'm not mistaken. The guy is done. And if any club is going to hire Mourinho, if Chelsea are thinking about hiring Mourinho,
I was going to say
Chelsea will be done. Chelsea will be
go
done.
Back to Chelsea.
Chelsea will be done, right? And I promise you this, he might destroy Chelsea. Mourinho in Serie A, destroying Roma. He has good players, and the way he plays football, he isn't getting the best out of them, and he isn't getting results either. Maybe Mourinho back in the days used to play defensive, if people want to say that, even though he was very attacking with Inter and Chelsea. Right?
What about if he goes to Newcastle?
I don't think he gets the best out of these players. They're gonna finish 9th where they are.
But Mo, could you not argue that they're 5 points, 4 points behind? Do I mean behind what?
Bro, they are shit. I don't watch a lot of them. Every time I'm watching them, they're shit, bro. The way they play football is absolutely atrocious.
But that's subjective, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very subjective, of course.
Yeah,
very
of course.
subjective.
No, so I get it. But what I'm saying is, on paper, when you look at it, they're 5 points. What, 5 points? Let me actually double check. I think they're 5 points behind. Who's fourth? Is it Fiorentina? Atalanta?
Fiorentina, yeah.
Yeah. So yes. I think they're 5 points, 4 or 5 points behind them. Could you argue he actually overachieved with that Roma team? With what they were given?
No, I'm gonna tell you why. Because Atalanta are better than them. Lazio, Bologna are better than them. This is one of the weakest Serie A seasons in terms of teams. AC Milan aren't performing well. Napoli aren't performing well. Lazio aren't performing well, and he's behind them. So no, and he got Lukaku, and Dybala is fit majority of the time. I can't believe that we have 350 people and we're discussing Serie A. listen, I'm not sure how Mourinho was still in the job, in my opinion. Like, bro,
Yeah, I don't watch Serie A, but I mean,
I don't
know
watch
Jose
Serie A, but
Mourinho
every
is,
time I'm
obviously.
watching them, bro, just give me a break.
The only
Give
team I
me
really
a
watch right
break.
now is AC Milan. Sorry.
They aren't
No.
great at all. They aren't great at all. They are where they are because, listen, I don't like his style of play anymore, and I don't think he suits the Premier League. And I think he's gonna be. He can play for a national team and he can win, as Andrew's saying here. Jose for England, easy, better than Southgate, 100%. So with this, I know that English
I take him at the
people,
U.S. men's national team.
English people want to play this attractive football, but Jose Mourinho will play defensive football, but Jose Mourinho might win you the title. Jose Mourinho might win you the next Euros. He might.
I'll take him at the
so
U.S.
that-
at the US
But you
job.
wouldn't like it, and I promise you, Andrew, you would hate it, right? Like the Capello era. Do you remember the Capello 2009? But Capello might have won the World Cup if that goal against Germany stood, because you had a very good team. But you would hate it. You would hate football.
Okay, Mo.
I didn't hate Jose football at Tottenham, though. I didn't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So with Jose, do you think he goes to Newcastle and wins them a title? What's more important for Newcastle? Because you've got to look at that.
What
Spurs
title would he win?
I think he wins the title. I know I might be speaking out my
He'll
mind.
win a cup. I don't think he'll win a title. But
I think he wins the was it Carabao Cup that Ryan Mason, or was it FA Cup that Ryan Mason had to manage?
100% he wins that.
He wins that.
Yeah, if he doesn't get sacked before that cup, we win the Carabao.
You have a trophy. Yeah, he gets sacked, they lose the trophy. I think if Newcastle want to win a title, win a cup, whether it's Carabao Cup, FA Cup, I think Mourinho's the right one to go and do it. I agree. Even if this is for a short period.
No, I don't.
Give him a 2-year contract. Just go for it.
Listen,
what do you got to lose when you're sitting 9th in the table right now?
Yeah, that's my point. Like, it doesn't make a difference.
Their goal,
now.
They're 10th actually now. Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
Listen,
so
I want to move on from that,
especially when their club said they were going to win the league in 5 years, right? And to drop from 4th to 10th is a big drop. I think Eddie Howe's got to go. Personally.
Yeah. If they stay 3-4 more weeks, if he stays at 10th, then he needs to go. They need something else. Like, even though Eddie Howe did a fantastic job for them, he needs to go. But Spurs, though, Gary Neville said that Spurs can finish above Liverpool, which is I think it's a bit of a stretch, and Arsenal. I'm not gonna say if can they or can they not. I'm gonna say, why do you think Gary Neville said that, Will? And does he have any objectivity about that opinion?
Yeah, I think it does, because if you look at the table, we don't have the only person in the top that's in the top 4 now, or even in the top 6 now, that we have to play until April is Aston Villa, right? So we have a very easy stretch of games up until April, and then we play Newcastle, Liverpool, City, Arsenal back to back in April. So and we have most of our guys that are out injured now coming back in February, right? So Maddison should be back even for our next game. He could even be back for the City FA Cup match, right? So if those players come back and we replicate the unbeaten run that we had in the beginning of the season, there's not really any teams that we face along the way while Liverpool and Arsenal are playing each other, while Liverpool and City are playing each other. You know, while these guys are taking points off of each other, we're playing Luton Town, right? So we can shorten that gap significantly. And then in that period, if we get, say, 12 out of 15 points from that 4-game stretch, City, Newcastle, Liverpool, Arsenal, we're in the picture. Do I think that it's likely that we'll beat Liverpool or we'll finish above Liverpool? No, I don't. But I definitely think we'll finish above Arsenal. I've been saying that for weeks. You know.
So you play Chelsea away, you play Aston Villa away, right? I'm not sure if these games are winnable. They are. I don't think
Chelsea away is winnable. Aston Villa is going to be difficult, but it's winnable. We could have pounded them at our place. And with Maddison, Basuma, Son, all of these guys fit, which none of them were fit, bar Son, and Romero, Van der Ven, they were all gone for that game. I think we can beat them at their ground easily.
Jerry, like, for me, I'm looking at the Spurs, and the only thing I can think of is that Spurs are 5th with 40 points. Yes, 21 games. And I haven't seen Spurs play their starting 11 in about 4 months.
That's-
4 months. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Actually, that's nuts. If you
since
think
October.
about that, it's crazy. 3
It
months.
is nuts. It is nuts. And I think that's why, if you were to look at it from a logical perspective, from a Gary Neville perspective, I know a lot of Liverpool fans have just lost their minds over it, but they haven't had their starting team yet. When they did have their starting team,
We
they
were
were
5 points clear.
up in and amongst it. They were up in and amongst it. They were not only were they playing good football. I think Mo, we can agree on that. I think the football was fantastic.
Yeah, the football is great to watch.
Yeah, it was great to watch. They were winning games as well. They're winning games now. Of course, you got the tendency to be Spurs. I don't think he's saying.
I don't know what that means. Again, I'm not. What do you mean tendency to be Spurs?
Yeah, pardon.
You said tendency to be Spurs. I don't want to dwell on that.
Oh,
Spursy.
Spursy. So by that, I mean be in and amongst it, and then because they haven't won it yet, not understand what it takes to go and win it. I think
similar to Arsenal with the league.
Same as Arsenal, yeah.
We call it RC.
RC, exactly. So, but I think if they can go and keep their squad fit throughout the whole season, then they could potentially go and finish above Arsenal. It will be difficult to finish ahead of Liverpool, and Liverpool would have to obviously capitulate at some point. But I think it's not too far-fetched to say that they could be in and amongst it, considering that the league is so tight, as you said, Mo, and a couple of losses and you drop down the table very, very quickly. Do you know what I mean? So, Arsenal were top of the league at Christmas. By New Year's Day, they were fourth. Do you know what I mean? So it's not beyond the realms of possibility that once Spurs get their team back, a couple of teams drop off and Spurs capitalize on that and then potentially end up higher than Arsenal. Don't see Liverpool, but yeah, I get it.
It's crazy because I did the poll and it's more than 200 votes. I said, can Spurs finish second? No chance, 52%. 33% said they can. And only 13% said they aren't going to finish top 4. You know how crazy is this, right? Like that people really genuinely think that Spurs. So that's more about 80%, 90% of the people think that Spurs will finish in top 4.
I
don't think there's a question about it.
You don't think there's a doubt?
No,
I don't. I think if Spurs for me don't finish top 4, then there has to be serious questions asked. Tactically.
No, absolutely.
Absolutely. It's not tactically. 100%. If we don't finish top 4, it'll be due to quality. It'll due to injuries and
no.
What do you mean?
But then I've got to look at individual games and be like, hey, the games where Ange didn't go and adjust correctly, you could have won the game, but you ended up drawing it or losing it.
What game was that?
Pardon?
What game have we lost that if he'd adjusted, we could have won?
Wolves is one. That you were winning the game, you were playing poorly, but you could have set up a bit.
We had 5 first starting 11 people now.
I understand that.
Son had no touches in their opposition's box the entire game.
That's fine, but defensive football doesn't necessarily require Son to have loads of touches because you were ahead.
We didn't concede at all until the last 20 minutes, 10 minutes of the game.
But that's my point. I think still there's you have to go. There's a certain level of tactical nuance that a manager needs to go see games out like that. Mourinho sees that game out like that.
If Van der Ven and Romero are playing in that game, we don't lose that game. It was Eric Dyer, Emerson Royale, and Ben Davies actually had a good performance in that game. But it was Eric Dyer and Emerson Royale that lost us that game. It wasn't.
But had they seen the game out, you would have said they had a great game because they had.
No, they played horrible the whole time. I'm not a fan that likes to project single instances across whole. Like even when we win, I'll say players played bad if they actually play bad. So there's these. It's quality. The games we have lost have been quality, right? Like Manchester United. Even with Kulusevski back, we win that game. We win that game easily. I think it's simply a matter of quality that we are struggling with. The system, the tactics are all working just fine, right? The Chelsea game, 2 red cards, right? We're down to 8 men or 9 men.
Yeah, the Chelsea game I'm not going to use. That's an anomaly. That's fine.
Yeah, but those games after that, we still played this. The style was still Postecoglou. The system was just simply the quality, the finishing chances, creating chances, it was a lack of quality. It wasn't a lack of tactics or the system. It's simply just a quality issue. And the more we strengthen, the more players start to come back, the more the gears, the more grease are in the wheels, and when the engine starts to run. So I'm not worried about Postecoglou at all. It's simply just we have a shit squad, right? So
I don't know. I look at that Spurs team still, and I think, look, if you guys don't finish fourth currently, I think your squad's better than Aston Villa's, even with the injuries. And I think Ange has proven that through the football you're able to go and play. I think there's still this kind of hangover from players playing in past regimes where you just don't like the players, in the same way that a lot of fans, as you're saying about Gomez, thinking, he's still going to play really, really poorly. I think, of course, quality is a massive, massive indicator to whether you can go and perform. I'm not saying questions don't have to be asked about that, but I think you also have to look at games where Ange could have potentially done better. It's inconceivable that Spurs, after the start they had, yes, they had a lot of injuries, but so have a lot of teams, have gone and managed to go and be in and amongst the top four, and then finish outside of it, and not say, you know what, Ange could have done a bit better there. Or
I'm going to ask him another question. I'm sorry, Will. I'm sorry. I have to come in here and say, okay, let me ask you something. Before the season starts, where did you have Spurs finish, Jerry?
I said 5th.
Okay. I had them 8th after selling Harry Kane, because because there is a reason. I'm going to say why, and simply, I didn't know that Sarr can play in that level. I didn't know that Richarlison will score goals. I had no idea that Udogie will be like this, Pedro Porro, that Van de Ven is that good. So we had no idea. And I didn't know that Vicario is that good. My point is, who is going to be more disappointed if they finish outside of the top 4? Arsenal from the Aston Villa, or Spurs?
Well, Arsenal, of course. Arsenal.
What about after this?
After this, I'd have to put Spurs in it.
Really?
Yeah, I would, because Aston Villa,
with the injuries though, with the injuries they have,
because I think if they, you can see Spurs have gone and done their business now early. They've got in Werner. That's obviously a sign in that Postecoglou.
That's absolutely a bum.
No, yeah, it's a bum, but it's the bum that it's not something that's just pushed onto Ange to go and sign, and he doesn't want the player. He's wanted Werner because
it's clearly pushed on him. No manager would go for a loan player for 6 months. If you ask Ange tomorrow, would you rather sign someone? Would you rather sign no one or get Werner on loan? He would say, yeah, I'll get Werner on loan. Why not? But to sit here and tell me logically that Ange asked for Werner, I think that doesn't make any sense. Because
no, but I think you don't. I don't think
you see my logic here, right?
Who do I need to get? There's no one to get. There's only Werner available on loan. Let's go and get him.
No, the board told him you can only get the guy on loan.
I think Werner's the name. I think there's many other players. I think Ange just proved it, that he can go and get a player that no one's ever heard of. He's just a player that's here. Even got him on a cheap. Got a random player on a cheap and made it work. Just as you just spoke about, we didn't know Porro's going to do well, although that was obviously a big signing. Van de Ven was one. Udogie, we didn't know what he could go and offer. Sarr was another one that, an unknown entity. They could have gone and signed another Solomon that played for Fulham one half of the season. And it's been like, who's this player? And he could have turned out to be a well-beater. He's decided to go and get Werner. That's still a decision that you had to go and make. Because Liverpool wouldn't have gone and got a Werner just because. The only time we went and done that was with the 2 centre-backs when we had an injury crisis, where we just got Kabak and Davies.
We have an injury crisis at left wing. That's why we did.
No, I understand, but he wouldn't have gone and got Werner. You wouldn't go and get Werner if you think the guy's a bum. That's my point. I don't think
he thinks he's a bum.
An idiot to go and be like, I've got no one else. All right, just give me Werner.
I don't think that he thinks he's a bum.
He really asked for he really asked for Timo Werner. Like, I don't
think he asked for Timo Werner. Basically, what he said in the press conference was that the opportunity came across their desk and that he saw things that he thought he could work with. That's what he said.
He's not going to come and say, I didn't want the players, right? The player is on loan for 6 months, as Will said, an opportunity. Someone said, by the way, Timo Werner is available for loan for free. You only have to pay the wages. And can you work with him, Ange? He's like, yeah. Is there another option? They're like, no, we're not going to buy somebody else. We already bought Brandon Johnson for 50 million. and we have
Manor
Solomon coming back in
Solomon,
February. So no, we're not. So, yeah, okay. And then he went to the. So for us to translate what managers say in the press conference, like, yeah, he wanted Werner, because in the press conference he was asked, "Is Werner a bomb?" And he said, "No, I saw stuff to work with here." I think we all know what happened, right?
Yeah,
Logically, and I'm being logical here.
I think when you look at Werner, right? Werner's he's the type of striker that he requires a lot of chances to go.
He won't play striker for us, though.
Yeah, no, but he's a forward then that needs a lot of chances to go and score goals. It was the same at Leipzig when he was banging in goals. He was overperforming his XG. He underperformed his XG for the 2 seasons he was at Chelsea. He should have scored more goals.
He hardly had any chances, though. You have to understand
exactly my point. So when he goes and looks at Spurs, he looks at Werner's ability to go and move into spaces. The same thing that Chelsea fans used to speak about and say that Werner, he gets into really good positions, makes really, really good runs, and then quantifies that and times that by the amount of chances that Spurs make, and says, we might have a go and have a player there. Now, of course, that might not be his number one option that he wants to go and sign. It's not the marquee signing he wants, but that's definitely
I don't disagree with
Ange wanted. If he didn't want him, if he thought, you can't offer me anything, he just doesn't take him. Do you think he goes and takes
no, he wouldn't take anybody. He didn't.
Or whatever his name is from Dastra Fofana that was at Chelsea.
Yeah, he wouldn't take any Nketiah off Arsenal.
My point, he wouldn't take, and that was an opportunity to go and get him as well. Of course, not saying you would go at Chelsea, but my point being is there's loads of players that are available that might fit your criteria in terms of the profile of player, might not be performing to a high level, but you can go and do something with it. On top of that, you guys have signed a centre-back that you went and needed, which proves to me that if there's an opportunity to make a deal in the market, Levy and Chelsea will go and do it. Of course, you're not going to go sign Osimhen. You know what I mean? You're not going to spend that amount of money. If there was a forward for 15, 20 million and that fit the profile, you probably go and get him.
I don't disagree with you, because in fact, like a lot of people, I had this discussion on a show on my channel yesterday, got in a little bit of a shouting match with one of my guys, and Timo Werner, when he was at Leipzig, he was doing about 120 shots a season, right? And at Chelsea, he had 60 in the first season where he scored 6 goals and only 45 in that last season, right? So the number of chances playing under Frank Lampard and Tuchel dropped significantly, completely different style of football. And even at Leipzig now, they're under a different manager who doesn't play a possession-based attacking style of football like Nagelsmann did at Leipzig, right? And so I think Postecoglou is looking at, okay, I play more of a Nagelsmann-esque type of a football. He did really well in that. The other managers he's played on haven't utilized this to his strengths. I could do something with this guy. Is he my first choice? No, but I think I can get a tune out of him. I think that's Postecoglou's mindset on this.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
And if he loses, if it doesn't work out, then Postecoglou's responsible for it. 100%, I agree with you. But what I think is, because a lot of people say Timo Werner, he's horrible at finishing, which he is, but he's better than Richarlison is. Richarlison this season at Spurs was 6 goals and one of his best shot on target ratios. So Richarlison hits the target 39% of the time. Timo Werner, as bad as he is, hits it 42%. So he's still better than Richarlison, right?
Yeah, but Richarlison's an interesting one, though, because Richarlison is in the Spurs team for a certain reason. There's a reason why Ange decided to go and play him. He allows the other players to go and play. If you go and look at what he's even done for Brazil, yes, he's not easy on the eye. He's not going to go and get you 30, 40 goals. He's not going to do something crazy. But what he's able to go and do is to go, and players can feed off of him. Now, it's very funny when you go and look at, for example, his XG, the runs he goes and makes. Very similar player to a certain number 9 at Liverpool. When you go and look at the types of players that they are, he actually enables Son to go and play, Kulusevski to go and play. He will go and hold up the play and draw players in. Now, if he can go and get goals, which he's doing right now, then that's the forward that Ange likes. If you guys look at,
I actually think you both
go and look at the strikers that Ange has worked with before. They've all been a similar type. He even spoke. There was even talk the fact that with having Kane in the team would have been a problem for Ange, because the fact that Kane likes to go and drop deep.
Yeah, Kane struggled. Kane struggled in preseason under Postecoglou. It's true, he did. He was getting deeper, was playing deeper than he should in a Postecoglou role.
And he likes Richarlison staying very high. Now, you need a certain striker to go and do that. There's not a lot of strikers nowadays that just like to stay on the last man or comfortable.
Richarlison is not Ange Postecoglou type player.
No, he's not.
Everybody the way I'm, I didn't
Lautaro
watch
Martinez, if we were to steal them from Inter would be the perfect Postecoglou striker.
You won't sign him. He won't go to Spurs. He won't.
We've tried like every summer for the last 3
years.
He
won't go to Spurs. So my point is, if everybody's fit at Spurs, it's gonna be Brennan Johnson on the left, Son in the middle, and Kulusevski on the right side. And if Mona Solomon is the first off the bench player, Werner and Richarlison are 5th and 6th choices.
I don't think so.
I think Werner starts on the left.
Starts.
Yeah.
No,
ahead of Brennan Johnson.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Wow.
I
he's a right winger, not a left.
I don't think when everyone's fit, I don't think Werner starts. I don't think Johnson starts. I think it will still be Son and Richarlison. I'm telling you now.
Richarlison.
Geez, like regardless whether it's purple patch or not, he's scoring goals now.
Bro, the guy cannot play football, bro. He cannot pass. He has a shit first touch. Ange Postecoglou needs players that can pass the ball, whip the ball, cross the ball. And he likes players that has good ability because he plays in tight spaces, and in the same time, he likes players to have the first touch and link up play to get players from the defensive side to the offensive side.
Richarlison isn't on the left.
Son comes to the ball though. Son will come to the ball because Son's that type of player. Richarlison stays high, which then creates the space in the
Son doesn't drop deep. Son actually sits pretty high on that line and makes runs in behind. Son actually fit it to a T. And the only reason why Son went back out on the left wing is because Brendan Johnson can't play left wing. He's a right winger. And we had no depth there. Solomon injured, Perisic injured. No, I don't think Richarlison starts for us. Son will play down the middle.
Werner.
I think Werner will play on the left. Yeah, I think he'll start. It'll be between him and Manor Solomon.
Okay, but let's see. The last part. So last question is that we don't think that Spurs will finish ahead of Liverpool. They can, but it's a very slim chance. All right. Listen, people, this has been an absolutely brilliant.
Definitely above Arsenal.
And an hour, 18 minutes. Tonight, we'll have Dan Potts, we'll have Mohamed Salah at 11 p.m. UK time. Turn on your notification bell. Still 350 people here. So hit that like button for us. Get us to 250 likes. Jerry channel is in the description. Jerry, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you, buddy. Always here every Tuesday. Will is here with us. Will is here back again on Friday with Joe Northside. And we'll see who else is going to join that. But Will, appreciate you being here. Tottenham away. Will Stewart 365 in the description. Guys, hit that like button for us. Subscribe to the channel if you're new before you go. And we'll see you guys tonight at 11 o'clock. And we are out of here.